everyone, and welcome back to Sandwiched, a podcast that is filled with irresistible fillings. This month is all about Adam Sandler movies, and the first edition of this month is 51st Date. As always, I'm Meat.
And I'm Cheese.
And welcome to Sandwiched. Playboy vet Henry sets his heart on romancing Lucy, but she has short-term memory loss. She can't remember anything that happened the day before, so every morning, Henry has to woo her over and over again. Her friends and family are very protective, and Henry must convince them that he's in it for the love. What a rom-com this movie is, would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Also, raise your hand if you've seen this movie or watched it growing up. I'm raising both hands, by the way.
I guess I can't too.
Because I watched it growing up, but I also just recently saw it again, and wow.
I forgot how much I loved it. Honestly, it was, very big emphasis on comedy. I don't think a lot of rom-coms are that funny, but I kind of forget that they're really great, especially Adam Sandler. What a guy.
Yeah, he just kind of has a goofy personality.
Yeah. And
that he just brings to the table.
And this movie, not so much, but most of his movies, well, I guess this one does. He has the same crew, I guess I would call it, that he always acts with. But not, I forget which movie it is, but you know the guy that Crazy Eyes, or you know the guy I'm talking about, right? I don't know what movie it is, but he's normally called Crazy Eyes. He's in I know he's in Billy Madison, but that's one of his main crew members, and then there are 2 or 3 characters in this movie that his normal quote-unquote movie crew actors, and maybe they'll be one of the actors we talk about today. But yeah, our director for this movie is Peter Segal. He has been known to direct a few other movies with Adam Sandler in it, such as The Longest Yard and Anger Management. I have actually never seen The Longest Yard, so I don't
What? No way. We have to do that one this month, then. It's so good.
But I also want to do Waterboy.
I mean, we can do all the things we want. This is our podcast.
That's true. No one can tell us what to do. But yeah, that's... I didn't have anything else about... As for notable actors, of course, I have 4 to talk about. I don't know how many you have, but maybe we can go back and forth.
I have 5.
Okay, maybe you should start.
So, first off, obviously, Adam Sandler.
Yes.
He was the lead role of, what was it?
Henry Roth.
Henry Roth, who, as was said in the thing, is a playboy, and I was not too keen on that. Because he just lies to a bunch of women and is like, sleep with me for tonight.
I know, I'm a secret agent. And then when he speaks to his watch, totally not secret agent words, Roscoe, cuckoo in the clock.
Yeah, he was just trying to pretend code stuff, but it didn't really look that attractive. I don't know.
Yeah, actor, comedian, writer, and producer. He does really do it all. The guy who just knows how to be comfortable in sweats and still be a respectable man. He is who we need in this world, not any old pop star. I know he was trending a lot last year. I think it was mainly last year, the beginning of last year, where, yeah, he was seen a lot in sweatpants and just comfortable outfits instead of being all dolled up or in suits or whatnot. And that, like I said, is a role model. To just be comfortable in the sweatpants, man. Love the game.
One thing I also admire about him, at least from recent history, is the fact that he's doing more, it seems like he's doing more serious movies rather than just the silly goofy characters he's been doing since his early career.
Yeah, because he has Happy Gilmore 2 coming out, and I'm pretty sure he's the one who is producing it.
Because for anybody who doesn't know, before Adam Sandler started acting, he was on SNL and did a bunch of skits with them before getting into acting. And so he was always the goofy character or the woman or whatever. But it's kind of cool to see sort of a twist in his career where he's going into more serious roles. Uncut Gems, for example, which is a movie that I haven't seen, but I plan on seeing because when I saw the trailer for it, I thought it looked really good. And then I heard that he had a great performance in that as well.
Nice. And to confirm, he is one of 4 people producing Happy Gilmore 2, so that will be exciting to come out apparently later this year. Ooh, the initial release is July, so maybe we'll revisit that for maybe we'll do like a new movie month or something where we only review new movies and we go to the movie theater.
Just watch it together.
Yeah, and I just like clickety-clack on my laptop and be annoying as heck. Yeah, so I also had Adam Sandler there. My next notable actor, actress, was Drew Barrymore, who plays Lucy. Man, what a woman.
Oh, yeah, she's amazing. She actually came to our hometown a couple of years ago. Yeah, because she has a perfume sold at, what's the...
Bath and Body Works?
No, the other store, the Ulta Beauty. She was selling a perfume at Ulta Beauty and had like a mystery contest going on, like a secret contest, and the store that like sold her perfume the most, like she'd go and visit, and so she came here. It was pretty cool.
I did not hear anything about that, and I was here 2 years ago. What the heckin'?
I know, I tried to get into the store on the day she was here, but I missed her, so. And she obviously wasn't staying at the hotel, so.
She might have. You never know.
It is the best in town.
She has her own show, her own kitchen product line, which I own, her double-barreled air fryer and her toaster.
Okay, before you go on, what is a double-barreled air fryer?
Well, it's this big $127.99 air fryer that has 2 compartments. It's this big, as big as I don't know, a big toaster oven. And you pull the drawer out and it splits into 2, or you can make it one whole one. You can roast a chicken in there. You can bake a turkey in there. It has
There's a turkey setting?
Yeah, there's even a broil setting. You can also reheat and the best thing in the world. And you can split it. So you can do 2 different heats and 2 different times, and you can sync it up so your food's ready at the same time. You need to air fry some chicken nuggets at 360 for 12 minutes and also air fry some potatoes at 450 degrees for 20 minutes. Sync those babies up and they'll be done at the same time. Wow. It's bliss.
By the way, this is not sponsored by Air Fryer.
Or Drew Barrymore. She also has a list of awesome movies and shows she was in. My favorites include Charlie's Angel, Blended, and Santa Clarita Diet. Oh, and this movie, I guess. But one of my favorite series is Santa Clarita Diet, which is it's like a zombie show, I think. It's more of a comedy. But I lied. It's not like a zombie. I think it's like a vampire show.
Never heard of it. So
it's you know why? Because it's on Netflix.
Oh yeah, that's my big issue is whenever something's on Netflix, I just don't watch it.
Oh, I also found out from our conversation last time about Netflix that you're right. The cheapest one is 2 screens, and they only have 3 plans. But then you can apparently add a screen where someone anywhere in the world can have access, have their own profile, but they have to have ads for like $8, which is weird.
Interesting.
Weird. Netflix being weird lately.
Plus, it's just Netflix.
Yeah.
I think everyone expects it now, so.
Yeah, I guess that's true. What's another one of your notable actors?
Well, we talked about Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. Kevin James made an appearance in this one.
Did he?
Yeah, he did at the beginning. When they were saying Henry Roth.
Oh,
he was just like, Henry Roth.
He was,
and I was
the
like,
one
oh boy.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like kind of a gay dude.
I love that.
It was awesome.
Oh my gosh. Weren't they also, maybe it's the wrong 2 actors, but I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. Yeah, that was the 2 of them, Adam Sandler and Kevin James.
That's another movie that I need to watch.
You haven't seen that movie?
No.
Well, it's available on Netflix.
Oh.
And
yeah, you know what that means for me.
And apparently you can rent it on Amazon Prime.
Because I had a friend who also told me that it was a good movie as well.
It's a really good movie.
But I'm a huge fan. I know him mostly from Paul Blart Mall Cop. That's like my big one. At least watch it once a year kind of thing.
Yeah, the sequel wasn't that bad either.
I never watched the sequel.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't want to ruin the original. I just loved it too much.
It was pretty good. Yeah, I didn't catch that. Oh my gosh. One of my favorites is Rob Schneider, who played Ula, but oh boy. I mean,
okay.
This guy is such a card, and I'm all for it. I mean, him as a person is very controversial, but him as a actor is just very enjoying to watch.
I honestly couldn't tell you what else he's in, but
Rob Schneider in The Animal.
I think he's very, very funny. He has a lot of dialogue in this film where it's just like one line, and then all of a sudden it's like him saying something, and then I'm like, what? That came out of nowhere. Also, it's just so funny because watching it, I was like, I can't tell if this is improv or if this is part of the script.
Honestly, who knows with them? And really, I didn't even realize it was Rob Schneider. Like, I love watching Rob Schneider so much. And he's in a lot, The Animal's my favorite. And then there's another one where he switches bodies with someone and, like, a girl's inside of his body or something. I forget what that one is.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that one's really funny.
I don't know it.
I never, for how many times I've seen this movie, I've never clicked that Rob Schneider was in this movie, because I think how, like, his makeup design and whatnot was just so different. But now I'm like, of course that's Rob Schneider. And really, these three actors that we named, besides Kevin James, but Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore, and Rob Schneider, those are probably the only actors and Johnny Depp are the only actors that I will just remember their names and who they are. I know it took me a long while to figure out Johnny Depp because I was going between that and who plays in Mission Impossible? Who's that guy?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. I was trying to remember Tom Cruise. I'm like, nope, this isn't one of them. Move on. But yeah, those are the only ones I'm gonna remember to a T. What is another actor that you found notable?
Sean Astin. You probably don't know him.
No, I don't.
So Sean Astin was Doug, the brother of Lucy.
Oh, okay.
Do you know where else you might have seen him? Have you ever seen the show Stranger Things?
Oh, I have, but it's been a really long time, and I only watched season 1.
Oh, well, then you wouldn't have seen him in it, because he's not until a later season.
Oh, my bad.
He's a character in that show named Bob, I think, if I remember right. Mm-hmm. And then I think one of his first movies he was in, I don't know if it was his first movie, but I know that he was in The Goonies. He was one of the kids in The Goonies.
Really?
Yeah. Mikey was his name in that one. And he is just really funny. I love this guy. Especially as his character in this one is just... he has a little lisp, and it just cracks me up so much.
Gosh, I think that whole family dynamic of them is one of my favorites, but I'll get to that later. My last character that I really enjoyed was Alan Covert, 10 Second Tom.
Oh.
That's one of the guys that usually canonically is in other Adam Sandler movies. I just never knew his name. Obviously, he's not, I guess, that notable to me, but we're just talking about me. I don't really matter how I remember things. But yeah, 10 Second Tom is just a classic comedic character, and I couldn't not talk about him, you know? It was just one of those, like, man. Yeah, but even though I don't really know him by name, he is in, like I said, a lot of Adam Sandler movies, like Grandma's Boy, which is a good one, Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy, and he's in Waterboy.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
The big three.
I said 4 movies.
Oh. Well, the big 3 in my brain are Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy, and Waterboy. Those are like the 3 that everybody remembers.
Yeah, Big Daddy I watched ever since I was little. Like, that was what got me into Adam Sandler.
Or Billy Madison as well, I guess. Would be part of the big 4, I guess. But you have a different one. What is that one again?
Grandma's Boy, which is a really good one.
Never seen that movie.
I think you would like it. It's more... it's like more of a nerdy perspective, so there's a lot of like gaming systems and something about that. Like Happy Gilmore is about golf, Billy Madison's about school, Grandma's Boy.
I'd say it's loosely about school.
Well, okay, but like the main thing, if you had to boil it down to the simplistic thing, Grandma's Boy is like about video games. Big Daddy's about peeing on a wall. No, I'm kidding.
Ooh.
And water boar is about alligators. No. Don't ask me to sum up a movie. Any other actors on your end?
Dan Aykroyd.
I don't know who that is.
He is one of the Ghostbusters. He was the doctor.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was a good guy.
The doctor in charge of all the brain fart people.
Brain fart people.
Yeah, I don't know, mentally disabled.
Oh my gosh.
Mentally impaired. There we go.
The head injury facility.
Yeah, the head doctor.
The head doctor.
So you've seen him in stuff like Ghostbusters. He was in Grosse Point Blank, for the people who know that movie. Let's see, what else has he been in? My brain is like trying to remember. It's been a couple of years since I've done a run through of actor films. He was in Blues Brothers, which is a great film too. Just a bunch of different things. He's mostly known for Ghostbusters though, because he's in 4 out of the 5 movies. No, I think he's in all of them, because he cameoed in the female Ghostbusters.
But did he cameo in the one where it's their children?
Yeah, he's just straight up in it.
Oh, so I haven't seen that one.
The Afterlife one?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Is it good?
I thought it was great.
Okay, because we own it, and I don't think we technically are supposed to own it because it's a Netflix DVD.
Ooh.
And our roommate, I don't think, ever returned it. Or maybe it's Redbox. Sorry, Redbox. I don't think he ever returned it. Now that they're
at that point, he might as well just pay for it. Because, I mean, it's $1 a night, so once you hit 30 nights...
Do you know, it's like $2 a night now, mattering on, like, how new the movie... But Redbox went out of business.
Oh, well, I guess they don't care anymore.
Yeah,
then.
but I guess we can watch it now since we own it. But I remember they were like, oh, yeah, if you want to borrow this, watch it. And I was like, oh, thanks. And my stubborn brain was like, I'm not going to watch it till I say I'm ready to watch it.
And then he's also in the newest one, the Frozen, whatever. Frozen, I don't know what it's called.
There's another one?
Yeah, they just, I think it was released last year. Another Ghostbusters.
Isn't
that follows like the same storyline as with the kids.
Oh, there's 2 with the kids?
Yeah, they're back in New York City though.
I haven't seen either of those.
Well, you have to watch the first one before you watch the second one. Because then you understand.
I used to be such a movie buff, and that's why I've always wanted to do this podcast. But now I just don't watch that many movies. Oh my gosh.
Well, watch more Dan Aykroyd because he's really funny.
I will. I promise. By the way, I break promises all the time, but don't tell Cheese that.
All right, start with Blues. If you do start with Blues Brothers, just because it's a classic that's goofy and silly. These 2 brothers go on an adventure to save an orphanage.
Okay. Okay, I'll watch it.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal.
All right.
If you're into those classic 80 films, I think he did that one before he did Ghostbusters, but Ghostbusters is the one that I'm pretty sure he's most known for.
Well, I watch it as long as the audience watches it too, whether it's now, yesterday, tomorrow, a year from now.
We'll watch Blues Brothers. It's great.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't really like swearing, don't watch it.
Darn. I got a fun fact for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
So this movie, 50 First Dates, is actually based on a true story.
What?
So let me start.
Was that supposed to be the Twilight Zone theme?
Yeah. Did you like it? I cannot say the word. Cosmopolitan reported an article that detailed the story of Michelle Philpotts from Spalding in Lincolnshire, which I think is over by the UK or Scotland or Ireland. She has had her memory wiped since 1994. So Michelle was left with a type of amnesia that the Daily Mail claims Dr. Peter Nestor, a neuroscience specialist at Cambridge University, described as rare, but it does exist. And after her involvement in 2 vehicle crashes, she got this amnesia. So she had a first accident take place in 1985 when Philpotts was on a motorbike, and then 5 years later, when in a car in 1990, she was involved in a second crash. She suffered trauma to her head in both incidents, as I guess one would when they crash, but it wasn't immediate as our character Lucy. She immediately got her amnesia stuff. It was not until 4 years later, in 1994, that doctors diagnosed Michelle with epilepsy as a result of her head injuries that she had sustained. And from there, things got steadily worse. Michelle was experiencing regular seizures as well as beginning to become forgetful. Her memory got so bad that, in fact, when she was eventually fired from her office job after she photocopied a single document over and over again one day, just by simply forgotten she had done it. I mean, that's pretty intense. That's like 10-second Tom right there. And now Michelle is just forever stuck in 1994. Her memories don't go past that year, meaning that she wakes up every day thinking she's 23 years younger than her actual, gosh, how old would she be today?
Very old.
Yeah. Well, if she was 23 in 1994, and you add like 31 years to that, 54. Yeah, then her actual 54 years. It's believing that John Major is still Prime Minister and that Forrest Gump is a new movie.
Wow, can you imagine watching Forrest Gump for the first time every single day?
Yeah, I mean...
that would be so good. That movie's so awesome.
What's the movie they watch? The Sixth Sense?
Yep.
Yeah, watching that just over and over, and they're like, oh, do you guys want to watch it? Maybe after the dishes we could watch this. And they're like, yay. Yeah, and, you know, that's, like I said, that's where the character of Lucy is based off of, because, you know, she loses her memory every night when she goes to sleep, which, you know, makes complete sense. Your brain kind of does that reset thing, because in your sleep, that is when your short-term memory is supposed to store. I know that from my psychology studies, is that, yeah, when you sleep, your brain kind of extracts your short-term memory into long-term memory. It keeps what it thinks it's important, and Lucy doesn't have that. So yeah, it can be an even more severe case of anterograde amnesia than Michelle's that Lucy has, but it's still there. You know, while she forgets what's happening every day without fail, she regresses back to 1994 in her mind. For Lucy, she regresses back to the morning, like the day before her accident. So yeah, this Michelle girl might meet someone, and within moments, she could even forget who she's talking to and why, just like that 10-second Tom. So bad to the fact that there's another movie called Before I Go to Sleep with Nicole Kidman, where the protagonist also wakes up every day having no idea that she's lost her memory. Michelle also has methods to help her remember things, just like Nicole Kidman does, and kind of just like Lucy does later, even though she writes that journal, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But Michelle puts Post-it notes all around the house, as well as uses the calendar on her phone to like schedule like what she's supposed to be doing that day, whether it's meeting people or whatnot. But she does get confused on what a phone is, because remember, her memory is going back to 1994, before the smartphone was there. So, you know, she's gotta remember that, oh hey, phones and the internet exist and whatnot. And even though Michelle's disorder can be a struggle, it's kind of even more struggling for her husband Ian. And there's a line where he reports, it can be very frustrating, but I have to be patient and understand. I have to keep calm because I love her. And then he adds, I am lucky we met before she had the accidents, because she can remember me. Luckily, we have lots of photos to remind her, otherwise she would forget it all. And I thought that was so sweet, because unlike in 50 First Dates, where, you know, Lucy meets Henry after her accident, Ian can have those memories of himself in Michelle's brain, so she doesn't forget him, have to go through that struggle of every day falling in love with Henry. So I thought that was really sweet and a cool little fun fact.
I like the overall dynamic of that idea of how, like, because imagine your partner woke up every day not knowing who you are, and then you had to try and convince them of who you were every day. I think that would be kind of a cool reminder to do something romantic for them every single day.
That is a good point. I will admit, I would.
I like the overall dynamic of that idea of how, like, because imagine your partner woke up every day not knowing who you are, and then you had to try and convince them of who you were every day. I think that would be kind of a cool reminder to do something romantic for them every single day.
That is a good point. I will admit, I would not be able to resist the temptation to just for one of those days be someone completely different. I think that would just be fun to do it just at least once. It's too tempting.
That's fair. I don't know, though. I don't know if I'd have that temptation.
I would.
I'd be like, I'm me.
It's me. It's me, Mario.
Don't you remember?
Yeah. Did you have any other, or did you have anything notable?
This movie as a whole just tripped me up. So I have a horrible, horrible, horrible condition where if I watch something that's sweet or beautiful or someone sacrifices for somebody else or la-di-da-di-da, I cry a ton. So that's like my biggest like regret from watching this movie because I didn't realize how much I'd cry. Like I'm one of those who will watch a chick flick and just cry and bawl. Like I can't watch Clueless without crying kind of thing because Clueless is such a cute movie. And same here. This one is just such a cute movie. There's so many parts that I love about this movie that just made me so happy. There's a scene where, like, because remember, Lucy is going back to that day, even though it's been, I think 3 years is what they said. No, they said 1 year. 1 year
barely,
since her crash.
Because it was, yeah, I don't know. I think it was, so I think I remember the paper saying it was June or July. No, like May. Because she said my tags expire May of this year or the next year. And the cop goes, no, it expires May of this year. So it sounds like it's after May because they're expired. But I think it was like, and then the paper said July or June or something like that. And then her accident was in October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think so going back to it, it's cool to me how much love everybody has for Lucy. Because the dad and the brother, Doug, I can't remember the dad's name.
I don't remember.
Because I didn't write it down. But I love that they're willing to sacrifice their time in order to make the day as perfect as they possibly can. And then even Henry, like his character dynamic changes throughout this movie, and that's part of the reason why I think I cry, is because seeing people go from kind of sleazy to actually caring about another human being and their take on the world, it's always just so touching to me.
Yeah.
Like there's a scene where Doug and the dad literally paint white paint, and they do this every single day, so they probably are used to how the pattern works and how they can do it the quickest. After Lucy goes to bed, they paint over paintings that she had painted, but the dad takes pictures of them beforehand.
I wish we were able to see, I know he showed some of them, but I wish we were able to see like a book of like all our paintings. And when I was watching this, I swear I must have misremembered, but I swear that there was a part where the dad does, like when they're helping him sail off, I swear there was a part where he gives him the music, but then I thought he also gave him a booklet of the art. And one of the, I know I misremembered because it was the end of the movie that she drew pictures of him. But I thought he was in those pictures and that's what sent him back. But, I wish we could have seen all her pictures because we did see like 3 of them. I also enjoyed that concept too. But I was really thinking hard about it too. Because how do they have a life? I mean, I would assume Lucy is gone all day. Except for close to around maybe before dinner time, I guess, because he already picks up the pineapple when they were supposed to go out pineapple picking, and side note, I wonder if he does that also to just not go out to a pineapple every day, but also to not trigger that from reoccurring, like that memory. Which honestly though, if they just recreated the events of that day, I bet her memory would have came back. Like that's how the brain can sometimes break out of amnesia, where sometimes it's just a mental block. So she could have been fixed maybe a month later. but yeah, back to what I was saying is
Well, I mean, if they were doing it every single day.
yeah, it would trigger.
But I mean, eventually, he was just like, I'm just gonna go down and get a pineapple already.
Yeah, because it's cost effectively. I mean, the fact that where they live and you know.
So I'm sure that for the first couple of months they were taking that same drive to go get the same pineapple.
And I haven't been to Honolulu, but I have been to Maui, and you can drive around the island in one day, but it's just so tedious because sometimes not everything, like where the homes are versus where everything else is. It's a pretty tedious drive.
Thank goodness they live in Hawaii, though, of all places. Because I mean, if they had to go and pick a pineapple every single day, then they'd be slim pickings on a pineapple in the middle of winter, you know?
That makes it pretty easy to keep this ruse up because the times rarely change of the day and the seasons rarely change. So it's not like they're going to pretend that this is happening and there's like 12 feet of snow and it's supposed to be summer, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you know, she's probably gone all day except for maybe like early after, or maybe like 4 o'clock, because I bet they eat dinner after she paints, I think, and he's like watching the game or whatever. And then she gives the present, and then she does the dishes, and they watch the movie. So I bet that's like 4 to 10 p.m. maybe 5 to 10 p.m. because I bet she paints a long time though. I bet it takes her a few hours to do that. So then that's the only times the morning when she leaves to about that time they get to have more free time. And I always just wondered like how feasible that was to just, because the brother obviously had some sort of life where he does go around, and you know, the character Henry was able to do his job and still like come back to there, so it kind of felt like that 7 to 3 kind of vibe. Because I bet he started at 7 instead of 9. Because, you know, wherever he worked, aquarium or whatever.
Yeah, it was an aquarium.
Yeah, it was. They're generally, I want to say, either they're open at like 10 or they're open at like 8 a.m.
I think it was later in the day, though, because he was able to go to the diner and have breakfast every morning.
True.
Which is part of Lucy's tradition, because her father's birthday happened on a Sunday, and on Sunday she would go and get breakfast from this diner, and that's where Henry met her.
I loved the second time that he officially talked to her, or like when they spent all that day together, and then he comes and she's like, oh yeah, come see me tomorrow, and then he does, and then he's trying to be funny because he knows her humor, and then she's instantly like, whoa, okay, creep.
Yeah, it speaks a different language.
Oh yeah, that time she does do that. I think the very first time I watched it, I didn't know if that was really her just pretending like she couldn't speak English, or sometimes when you get certain traumas to the head, you can speak a different language, you know? And maybe just that part of her brain was processing words differently. That would have been really cool.
I just honestly think she took a language course when she was in school.
Probably.
So, for those who don't know, spoiler alert, because this is going to be a spoiler, the way she got her head trauma was she was in an accident. I know that we kind of touched on it earlier, but they were on their way. Her and her father had this tradition of going and picking a pineapple, and they veered off the road because there was a cow in the middle of the road, and then the car swung, and her side of the car was struck by a tree. Well, I mean, they struck a tree on her side of the car. The tree didn't physically hit them. This isn't the Whomping Willow. But it was that caused her amnesia condition. I also I had a moment of realization that this was a 90s film when they were still using videotapes.
Oh.
I was like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Because no one really uses videotapes anymore. And I doubt that, I think that there's only a select few kids like coming up in this specific generation. Like I'm talking like kids 3 or 4 years old who understand what a videotape is. But I think anything beyond that, they just have no idea.
I think the only reason they're going to know what a videotape is because of Amanda the Adventurer, that horror game. Because it's based on...
You think 3-year-olds are watching or playing a horror game?
No, like by the time they grow to like 5 or 6 or 8...
Okay. Those are some really, really loose parents.
Hey, you seen like 1-year-olds with iPads?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
That means a lot. But I bet they're gonna see videos of people playing this horror game that's still in, like, a little bit, it's not fully, I mean, it is fully developed, but it's not, it's still developing. So it's gonna be popular. You know, maybe their older siblings watch it, or maybe their parents are playing it, so they're gonna see it. And, you know, it has videotapes in it. Like, it's analog horror. I think that's what that's called, right?
I have no idea.
Well, analog horror is one of my favorites.
I don't know if I don't know subgenres of horror movies.
It's not a horror movie, it's a horror
Yeah,
video
horror
game.
Sorry, my bad. I just don't know subgenre that well. I'm like, horror's horror. Except for zombies, they don't count as horror.
Another favorite part for me was towards the beginning, where the relationship Henry has with the other animals and their shared hatred of Alexa. Like the part where he gets the
I
walrus.
don't know if they hate her as much as they just like to bully her.
Well, yeah, I guess that's... Well, no, he slaps her with a fish. Come on, if like totally messes with her, and then gets her thrown up on, man.
See, but he didn't know that he was gonna puke.
Oh, I guess that's true. He thought he was gonna burn. Okay, well, the animals, I think, hate her. But then he high-fived the walrus, like, yeah. So I thought that was really cool. I have a lot of favorite parts, so if you have other favorite parts, I'll share the mic.
So going back to the videotape thing, Henry ends up making a videotape for Lucy, which is like the sweetest thing in the world, because he wants her to know, because him and her dad are having a conversation about the fact that they have bad days sometimes, where she realizes that it's not actually the day that she thinks it is, and so she has this mental breakdown and has to go to the doctor and has to do all sorts of different things. And he's like, well, what if we don't have to do that? And so he brings her lilies, which are her favorite flower, and a videotape. And the videotape is just kind of a recap of everything that happened within the last year. And it seems like throughout the rest of the film that he keeps progressing these videotapes and making content so that she can know what's happening in her life and what has happened in her life. And I thought that that was very sweet, and that the staff at the cafe were willing to help him with it as well, because they also really care about her.
Yeah, I love that whole concept, because instead of living like the same routine every day, she gets a chance to still have like a do something different every day and build on these relationships. I also thought it was kind of a funny concept, because eventually either it's going to be a really long video or he's going to have to pick and choose what he puts in there, you know? I did like the part where she gives her honest opinion about it, how she kind of does, she appreciates it, but then always feels like someone else is telling her what her life is. And then she has her journal, which she doesn't start writing until the first night of the videotapes. I thought that was really cool, because then she can have her own version of like, hey, like this is a safe space, and you know she knows how to talk to herself. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I
also would love to imagine her, like, you know, most people know like pregnant women have insane hormones. So I mean, like when she was pregnant, would she just freak out and just, you know, nonstop be screaming and then throw stuff around where she would lose the tape and maybe smash it? That would be a kind of cool, like, little blurb to see. Like, I wonder if that was like a really big struggle. And then here's the thing, you know, you're waking up and you have a different memory. What if you're the type of person that wakes up in the middle of the night to go pee? Would your memory in that moment still be gone? And then, well, like, let's say you just went for a drive that night and then you came back and went back to bed. Would you not remember that too? Like a little micro, like amnesia, I don't know, adventure?
I'm not entirely sure, because it might be like, have you ever seen the film Groundhog Day?
Yes, but a long time ago.
So he wakes up at like 6 a.m. every morning. It's the same day. I wonder if that's kind of the thing where like it gets to a specific time and then her brain just is like tick, and then all of a sudden it's the same day again.
Gotcha. I also like the concept of movie. I know that's not technically what this movie is, but the concept of movies like Groundhog Day, where the day just keeps repeating over and over again. Countdown, I think, is one of them, and then a lot of them are based around people's birthday. Though there's a lot of movies where the protagonist, which the 2 or 3 that I really like, it's usually a woman's birthday, and what happens is when she dies, she re-wakes up on the morning of her birthday.
Isn't that Happy Death Day?
There's one called Happy Death Day. There's a Happy Death Day 2.
I've not seen that movie.
It's a really good movie. There's also one called Countdown. But yeah, like every time they die, they re-wake up and have to like solve their murder. I love the concept of that, but I don't get why it's always the birthday. Because Countdown and Happy Death Day, I'm pretty sure Countdown's the same. But
I think it's because it's an easy day to work with. Sorry for interrupting you a little bit.
Oh, no, you're fine. That's a good point, though. I don't know. Maybe I'm just completely wrong, too, and Happy Death Day is the only one that's on a birthday.
Well, I have no idea.
Me neither.
I've not seen any of those movies you just listed.
You have to, eventually. Back to that character of Ula, thank you. I can never pronounce anything right. With all his, when he, like, every time he's with all his children is really funny. Especially when he was bitten by the shark and being stitched up. Did you also notice that he was missing a finger?
No.
I clocked it very quick because he was talking about his stitching, and he wasn't saying, "Oh, look at my finger." He was just moving. Oh, it was when they were golfing. I think had to have been when they were golfing, because I think he was wearing a golf glove, and they were talking about his stitchings coming out. That his glove, he didn't have a finger. I don't remember which finger it was. It was either the middle finger or the ring or the pointer, like one of those 3 little long ones. It was just not there, and I was like, oh my gosh. But no one ever talked about it, and I thought, oh, he doesn't have a finger either. Like, how, like, did he lose that from a shark? Or
probably, because he said he liked petting the sharks.
Yeah.
He's like, it's nice to pet a shark.
They're like dogs. They only bite when you touch the private parts. And then a shark bit him. So I don't know what's that insinuating. But I just like or like in the end when they're doing the somersaults and he just goes like flat in the water. I bet that was not good for his stitches either.
I think my most quotable line from that movie that I forgot was in there was when he's like in the cafe and they're making the tape for the first time and he's like, "Hey, get your brother out the dishwasher." It cracks me up every time.
Yeah. I guess going back to the family dynamic when they're watching the Vikings game for like the 800th time. I love the part where Lucy's like, "Oh, I wonder, or I hope they do this or something like that," and Doug's like, "Yeah, I bet they do this really specific thing or whatever." I forget what he says, but it's this really specific play-by-play where you just can't guess that. And the father shoots him a glare, and Lucy's like, "Okay, you're on."
They bet doing the dishes on it.
Yes, that's they bet doing the dishes, and Lucy's like, "I bet you're wrong. Like, that's too specific, blah, blah, blah." And then the brother doesn't even look. He's just scrolling through his newspaper. That exact thing happens, as it has every day for almost a year. And she walks away like, I guess I'm going to go do the dishes. And then the father just takes off his shoe and throws it at him. And I thought that, like, when it hits him, because it's so perfect, he doesn't notice it's happening. He's looking down. He's like, ah. And he's like, what? And I just love that. Because he's obviously the little brother, right?
Yeah. No, I think he's older.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Because I think he calls her baby sister to Henry.
What are you doing with my baby sister? Something like that. He gives like that little brother feel though, I guess. But maybe it's just
I think it's his lisp and the steroids that don't help
with
that.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I just thought that part was really funny.
Yeah, he's a unique character. I love it when he's talking to the doctor and he's like, "So let's just say I have a friend, and he's experimenting."
I can see his wet dreams, and is it associated with steroids?
Get off the juice.
And stop wearing shirts with holes in it.
and then Henry adds insult to injury by telling 10-second Tom about it.
Yeah, that was so funny. He's like, "Dude, aren't you a little old for wet dreams or something like that?"
Yeah, and
he's
then
like,
he's like, "You better watch yourself, Tom."
Yeah, and Tom's like, "What?" And Dad's like, "Cool it." That's why I like 10-second Tom. I think he was even though there was no need for a comic relief sometimes, it was a good comedic dynamic. And I don't know, it's just that type of comedy you don't really see at all. I think that, I say it, like, I didn't have any, just because I'm on the topic of this, I didn't have any part that I didn't like about the movie. Most Adam Sandler movies are just movies that I don't want to alter them in any way or hate on them. But I do know that some people do not like Adam Sandler movies at all. Like, they find them offensive, the concepts and the topics. But really, the rule of being a comedian is make content for you and your audience will stay, and make content for others and your audience will change. So, like, those who just don't like it, fine, get out. I mean, most comedians are offensive just because not everyone's going to be happy about the content they want to create. But I just love Adam Sandler's content no matter what. I think sometimes we all need that. It's not like dark humor, but you know how some people just thrive on dark humor even though they don't mean anything by it? It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
And I just love it.
Maybe there's just like a specific Adam Sandler taste,
Yeah, a little
like,
flair.
Like a little
touch of sand.
Yeah, like a flick of basil on a specific dish to make it taste better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. yes, chef cheese.
I think the one part that I really like, the choice that was made that I was like, seriously, because I'm a total stan for this movie. I love it. I would probably watch it over and over and over again and not get bored. But the one thing I was just like, dude, when Lucy was like, I don't want you a part of my life anymore, I was so mad at how Henry was just like, okay.
Right? Like, he didn't even want to fight.
Yeah, it pissed me off because I'm like, seriously, man? You went through all that random garbage. And by the way, there was this really funny scene where Ula got hit with a bat because he was beating up on Henry, and Lucy rolled up and was like, hey. So what happens is that he hits on her in the cafe multiple times and just keeps coming back. And then the dad is like, don't go to the cafe. And Ula's like, oh, there's a workaround. Or maybe it was her name Alexa?
Alexa, yeah, it was Alexa.
I find a workaround. And then
the analogy was terrible.
Yeah, so it was horrible. She's really weird.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Whatever. And so he like starts setting up things on the side of the road. And one of these things is like, he has Ula pretend to beat him up. And he's like actually like physically assaulting him. And then he's like, help, he's beating me up. And then Lucy comes out of nowhere with a bat and just starts beating up Ula.
I think it was an aluminum bat too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could hear the ding.
Yeah, it did not sound great.
What was your favorite ruse that he put on?
I think...
That one?
I think the one that made me laugh the most was when he's like just tied up in the back of the truck. Because I'm like, how in the world did he do that?
Yeah, it's very intricate.
Because he's just out there alone.
He's just over there being a little rope bunny.
And then he sits up because he sees someone that isn't Lucy, and then it's the dad.
Yeah, the dad and the brother. They're like, when you're done playing... What?
When you're done hitting on my daughter, come by the house. Or something like that. It's just so funny to me.
Yeah, that was a really, really good part.
But getting back to it, like... that's why it made me so mad that he just was like, okay, cool, you don't want me in your life anymore. And then he was like, okay, now I'm setting sail.
Well, I think part of it... No, go ahead.
I was just like, dude, you know that she remembers you. And I mean, that's something that he realizes as he's sailing away. Because the dad tells him earlier that she only sings while she's painting on days that she meets him, meets Henry. And I'm like, dude, you know that she remembers you. And she's like writing in her journal about him and making these videotapes for herself and all this other stuff. And I'm like, dude, you spent so much time and energy trying to win over this girl's heart, and you managed to do it, and you give up that quickly.
I think part of it, though, was because, like, the dad had the influence of, like, hey, it's all up to Lucy. Because I remember at first he's like, well, you're not going to remember this tomorrow. You're not going to remember us breaking up. So, like, it's going to be fine. Which, kind of sounded... I know he was hurt, but kind of sounded like 2% toxic and manipulative because like, well, you're just gonna forget about it, we're gonna stay together. But then the dad's like, it's a reminder through the movie that's like it's up to Lucy, like it's her life,
Yeah.
So I think in the moment he was like, it's not my life to meddle with, like if that's what she wants, blah blah blah. But
it was just kind of heartbreaking to see.
It was.
To be like, dude, man, you give up on a girl.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, the scene where he was crying and singing was one of my favorite parts, too.
Yeah.
What an nice day.
He's like sniffing, basically, as he's sailing away.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And I love he was like, what if she's trying to tell me something in the song? And I'm like, dude, there's no hidden message in the song.
Like, what if the dad is telling me something by giving me this?
Oh, I thought he said...
That's what he meant.
Oh, I thought he meant Lucy
like,
trying to tell him something.
Wait, is he trying to tell me something here? And then he was like, oh, she remembers me. And then they have that tearing up just thinking about it.
Oh.
It's just so sweet,
It is. And also her outfit when he goes back to her.
Oh, yeah.
Smoking. And then, okay, one of my favorite
classic Japanese dress.
Mm-hmm. They're called kimonos.
I don't know if that specific dress is a kimono.
Probably not.
But
it was really pretty.
It was.
One of my favorite art paintings that she did was the one where it's a cracked head or a cracked egg for his head.
Yeah, the egg head.
Yeah, like she remembered so much.
So he like runs to this she decides to institutionalize herself and be with the mentally handicapped people.
And teach an art class.
And she's painting paintings as well. And he doesn't realize this. And so he gets there and he says, Lucy, do you remember me?
I love how she goes.
And she goes,
no. Like, what?
Yeah. It's so funny because it's like, if from the perspective of someone who would watch the movie for the first time, it would be like, what? That was a waste of time.
Right? Yeah. I think that was purposeful. But I feel like if she was making paintings of him, wouldn't she... I mean, I guess it was better for the dynamic of the film to be like, no. But at the same time, you're painting pictures that look identical to him. Wouldn't you be like, I mean, I don't know you, or I don't remember you, but I know of you, or something like that. But that wouldn't really be thematically appeasing.
That's true. It was better that she led him and then gave the big reveal. I forgot that she made that many portraits of him.
It was a lot.
I honestly thought, like, the only one I remembered was the egg. I was like, I know that she makes the egg head one. And then I thought that they were all eggs because in my brain I was like formulating it, and I was like, okay, she doesn't remember him.
So they're all eggs.
So that's like the one fact that she knew about him, and so I figured that it was just a bunch of portraits of egg heads. And then I see all the pictures and I'm like, whoa.
How long were they not?
It was like probably a week or two.
Really?
Because I mean, think about because he wasn't ready to set sail when they broke up. And so he had to get his ship fixed a little bit.
That would not take a week.
I don't know. It depends. Because the mask, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I know, like, they were just apart for a bit. And, like,
I mean, she has a lot of time on her hands, too, now that she's not with her family.
Like,
so she could potentially have just been painting the portraits all day long. Because he'd been working on the boat since it broke, which is, like, the middle of the movie. So she could have just, like, been doing that. And then, like, that was her whole reason for being institutionalized and kind of giving that, is she wanted Henry and her dad and Doug to be able to live their own lives. And that was her whole thing, because she overheard a conversation that he was having with the doctor and stuff like that. And he said, I'm probably not going to go now because someone's got to stay here with Lucy and be with her and help her. And she didn't want that to happen. And so she was like, well, I'm going to break up with him.
Right.
And then I feel like she was institutionalized for at least like 3 days, because she said that she saw him in her dreams. And so I feel like in order to like get to that level where you have, because like an artist, you have to see something multiple times in order to remember it and to be able to recreate it without any sort of reference. And so I feel like her sleeping for a couple of nights kind of triggered that for her.
At least a month.
Really?
Yeah. Because, it's a lot of paintings. Like, let's say I feel like it took 3 days for her to think about making a painting of him. And then let's say it was 1 or 2 paintings a day. Yeah, she does have a lot of time in her hands, sure. But we don't know how long it takes for her to do something creatively. And a lot of those were pretty intricate. And then she teaches the class and she goes on tours with people and she has to learn who she is all over again still. She has her own book that she makes for herself that says please read or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's
right. She makes her own from her point of view. And so she has to go through that, and then she has to eat. She's at the institute. Like, she has to remember everyone's name. I don't know if she cares about doing that. Well, she probably does. But yeah, she leads them on tours and stuff like that. Maybe she goes sees her dad and brother. Even I know she is there.
Oh yeah, the marina tour. She was walking around with
so it's not like she's isolated there, but she was in charge of that, which is pretty cool for them to do that. And I don't think there was anyone else there.
So to make a note of that, like, it didn't look like she really recognized Henry when she was doing those tours, because he was working there and then she walked right by him without like turning around or doing anything like that. So I was like, maybe she hadn't like had enough dreams to remember that this is the guy.
I think it took about a month, because let's say she did start remembering him. Of course, she wouldn't remember that trip, but I don't know. I feel like it would have been enough time that, I don't know. I guess she wouldn't remember it.
Well, I mean, I think he also like kept a couple of months. Like, he was working to be in a relationship with her for a couple of months.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the beginning, I don't think they were together. I think it took him like maybe 2 weeks to get to the point until they, I don't know. Because, yeah, how they kind of make it sound, they've been going back and forth for a bit. But I think it took a couple weeks before the dad and brother were like, you need to come to the house. And then I think it was at least like a couple weeks after that. Because I know he says one time, this is like the 18th time we've made out. So if it took a couple weeks for them to even get that far, and then 18 weeks is 18 days, which is 2.5 weeks. So then that's like a whole month after they started. And then it might have been like a month apart. But maybe he had to like save enough money too to go on his trip and also pay for the boat. Because a lot of things, the mast snapped, something else broke off of it, and then there was a hole in his deck.
Yeah, Ula fell in.
And then had something tickle his feet.
So there was probably some more issues going on there.
Yeah. So I think it was a while. Or maybe they were together for a while. I don't know. Because they never really show, I don't think, while they're dating, what he was doing to his boat. Because I don't think he did anything. I think literally all his time was for Lucy. Besides working. Gosh, what did he do? Like, if he was so enthralled with her, like, did he just have free range to not work? Like, also, like, are those just only on the days off? Like, I don't know.
Maybe it was like a part-time gig. Maybe
part-time gig.
Either that or he received salary pay for what he was doing. Because, I mean, he was a marine biologist. So.
I thought you meant Lucy was a part-time gig. Like, on his days off, he would pay
attention to her.
Well, maybe he spent time, since like you were saying, it was probably later in the morning that he had to go to work. Maybe in the morning he spent, like, had her, like, remember this stuff, and they spent a little bit of the morning together. And then since she now remembers, he goes to work, and she does, her thing, have her live, and then they meet back in the afternoon. Like, they go to that barbecue. And then, like, obviously, I think, she's obviously capable of doing whatever she wants. She doesn't need, like, a babysitter. So he probably was able to go to work just fine. I know, like, she came to his work as well a few times because they had that tour. But I think that was, like, a special night tour.
And I think that, yeah, that makes sense. Going back to, like, actors we recognized, even though I don't know her name, I think that lady that's in Grown Ups was on the beach.
Oh, yeah. She plays one of the wives. She is in a few of those movies.
I've only seen Grown Ups once, so
yeah.
I don't remember her name or anything about her. I just was like, oh, I think she looks familiar. I think
it also has Kevin James in it.
It does.
There's a second Grown Ups.
I know.
I haven't seen it.
Nor have I.
Oh. yeah, so I think it took more than a month. I don't know what the point was there for a second. But it's not very specific about it. You're just kind of in the
you just have to
lure.
kind of assume.
Yeah, you're in the lure of love. Would there be anything else you would want to like really change about it?
I was kind of thinking about it as we were going through because I wrote down in my notes that I would change the tears running down my face because when it comes to any sort of romance movie, I typically break down crying if the couple that I want to get together gets together. If my ship sails, then everything works, and I just tear up and cry. And I love all the movies where Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler have a relationship because it seems like they're like the type of relationship you'd want to see in a movie and a TV show where they kind of have their struggles, but everything sort of works out. And I think that that's just the way that we all hope for relationships to be, is to be in a situation where we don't know what's going to happen, but we know that no matter the situation, we'll try and work it out. Because, love works that way. And so I just kind of cry at moments like that where it's just kind of beautiful to me that when people try for their relationship, it makes it more meaningful to them.
It was a really nice ending.
Because she wakes up in Alaska, ends up going with him on his Alaska trip with the walruses.
And the dad goes too.
Yeah, and that was great.
Yeah.
And then they have a little girl, and it's so cute.
I'm glad the brother didn't go, but I'm also glad the brother kind of has his own life with Alexa.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
I love the part where it's like, can I touch your fisherman muscles? He's like, yeah, and he flexes his arm, and then she gives his butt a squeeze.
And he's like, oh. You meant that.
It was really funny. But yeah, it was such a, I feel like a lot of people, even the ones who hate Adam Sandler movies, there's something so blissful about his rom-coms. He's a funny guy, but he can also be a great romantic guy. There's another movie he's in that is also a really beautiful, I don't know if it's so much as a comedy, but I think it's just maybe they still call, what do they call just romantic? Maybe it's still called a rom-com.
Romance.
Yeah, I guess romance. But I feel like that's...
A rom-com is romance and comedy.
I know, but I feel like there's no just I think it's still considered a rom-com. But Spanglish?
Never seen it.
It's where, like, the girl, I think, mainly speaks Spanish and he speaks only English. And something about their paths cross where they fall in love, but, like, they sometimes can't understand each other. But that's a really good movie, and I forget the one who plays the main woman, but she's a beautiful actress, and it's such a nice movie, and I forgot about it till about 2 minutes ago. But like, Adam Sandler's just so good with having just raw emotions, because some people can play really bad role, like they can play a romantic role and be really bad at it, like you don't have that true romantic nature, and I think Adam Sandler does a really good job at it.
Yeah, he definitely did good in this one. And in pretty much most of the other ones he's in, he plays his characters very well to the point where it makes it convincing that the emotions that the character is feeling are what he's feeling. I remembered what I was thinking about that I would change. I don't know. I just got, by like the middle of the movie, I was kind of eventually turned off by the sex jokes, because there were a lot of sex jokes in this movie. And I was just like some of them are funny. Like, I think Ula, in the first video that they make for Lucy, Ula dresses up and plays the part of Lucy. And then he, starts trying to, lick the coconut, I don't know, bra that's on him. And then Adam Sandler just goes, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry if you're watching this.
Sorry to the dad.
Yeah. He's a little drunk, and then that's right before the dishwasher part.
Yeah.
But that, I was just it didn't ruin the movie, but I was some of these weren't needed.
Yeah, I think that's just the normal, I feel like you can't really have his comedic flair, but I also think it's part of Rob Schneider's comedic flair too. I thought it was a little off-putting. One of the parts that I wanted to change about it is I did say if I was directing this movie, I would have just loved to act in it, to be in the universe of Adam Sandler movies, or just to be near him would be amazing. So I wouldn't really change anything. But then I wrote a note because I wrote that like before finishing the movie, knowing that I've already seen it, and think, why would I want to change anything about this? And then when I got to the end, I did some reflecting like 2 hours later, just randomly, and I wrote a note that says, actually I lied, even though, like, why would I say that I lied? I would just not say that I was lying in the first place. But sometimes the script felt really choppy in that sense too, where it had like not a smooth transition to these jokes sometimes, but also just it would, you have to, like, sometimes you have to say something in the script to flow to a different concept, but sometimes it's not put correctly. But sometimes it was just hard to tell. Other times it's like, oh, that was a little awkward, or I could have rephrased that differently, but you don't really see that it's choppy, but it is. It's like, if you look at most children's movies nowadays, as an adult, watching the ones we watched when we were a kid, you'll kind of see what I mean about choppy, because it's all about getting the attention to keep going through the movie and not about the cinematic story.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't even really notice that though.
That's
but
okay.
I did notice that some of the, like, and kind of go in line with what you were saying, some of those sex jokes were played off in that way, where it was just kind of an awkward thing where after they were made, there was like a pause, and then they were just like, okay, let's start acting again.
Yeah. I did another part that felt, because, Henry's character changes throughout it. Obviously, he becomes more romantically involved and less of a player. The only time that I felt like he was reverting back to his ways was when they were making out, and he's like, man, this is like the 18th time. Like, I just, like when he treads the coffee field and stuff like that. It's like, whoa, obviously she's not ready. Like, like, I know she forgets every single time, but she doesn't feel safe with you currently, or, like, safe enough to be that vulnerable. Eventually she does, I think, later. I don't remember I think it was later in that episode, or not episode, sorry, later in that night. Yeah, because they go to the walrus. But, I don't think she felt pressured or anything, but, like, just in that moment when he was like, oh man, it's like the 18th time, I was hoping to go somewhere else with this, kind of made it feel like he cared less about his love for her and more about the fact that he's so used to having one night stands every day and has gone, I guess, 18 nights at least without getting some. So it was just like, come on.
Yeah, I understand how that was kind of off-putting, like, especially since Henry, it almost felt like Henry should have remembered that she didn't have any idea.
Right, so, it's not like she's gonna remember.
And then every single day that they kissed, she's like, there's no kiss better than the first kiss, or some sort of variation of that.
Right, yeah.
And then he's like kind of fed up with it, it seems like, and he didn't even like give her any like notice, it seems. Well, like, at that point though, she was writing in her journal daily, so
yeah,
I'm not
because
entirely sure.
Because don't they walk on the beach that day too, and they're continuing to record? Because she doesn't start writing her journal till they see that videotape, and I can't remember if that scene. I think that scene was afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously, because after the video he says like, "Hey, we've been together for a bit. You just don't remember." But before the video, she doesn't know that. So yeah, you're right. It was. She's been writing the journal since then. So I guess she would like build an ongoing memory, but it's not fully there yet. I just thought about something too.
I guess that's just sort of a weird plot hole that is like, whatever.
Well, I don't think it's so much as a plot hole. Well, maybe. Like, it's a reflection of his character that he's not fully grown up yet and, like, matured enough. Because obviously he just, like, gives up. So I guess that's a level, like, seeing his maturity level go through it. Because I think maybe it's later after that they have the beach scene where she's like, do you love me?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I think that's, like, maybe where he kind of flips. Just kind of my perspective on that. But I just thought about something. Maybe they went on, Well, because the movie's called 50 First Dates. So I'm trying to think. They had 50 first dates probably. But when does the last first date start? Like, is the last first date do you think it was 50 first dates before he made the video? Because, like, then it would not be the first date, because then she would have all this fake memory or supplementary memory about all the time that they were together. So I was just kind of thinking about that. Like, how much
I think it happened.
method?
I think it would be after.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they've been seeing each other, but she doesn't really know that.
Yeah.
Because when they were traveling to the doctor that day, or the day that she had her breakdown, like a couple days before he made the video, the dad said, "You're kind of dating him."
Right. And then I guess when they break up, she's like, "Can I have my first kiss?" So, one more first kiss.
I think it started after that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just
like we'll make it official kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, you can go on dates before you're dating. That was a concept. It took me a really long time to understand, because I remember being like middle school. You know, like you say you're dating, but like you can go on dates. Or like one thing in early adulthood, it was interesting and complex to understand when I was watching other movies, is that people can go on dates with multiple people because you're not official yet. You know? And I thought that was such a weird concept, because that's not what I was used to. You know, like in middle school, or in high school, you know, you just quote unquote date, but you can date without being official. It's like, I don't know, someone would have told me this, maybe not in middle school, because you know that's a little too young, but someone would have told me this in high school or something, I probably would have not had the life that I had or something. And I just think that's such an interesting concept off the topic of it. But yeah, so did you like the movie overall?
Oh, absolutely. Even though the sex jokes were kind of like eventually, I still would give this a 5 out of 5.
Awesome.
Just because everything added up makes it a film that I'm willing to rewatch
50 times.
Yeah.
50 first watches. I would
weeks after it. So.
Weeks after, 50 weeks after. I would also give it a 5 out of 5 in terms of rom-com. Like, this is 5 popcorn bags or buckets out of 5 for rom-coms. But if it's for movies overall, I honestly would give it a 4 out of 5. I reserve 5 out of 5s for only a select few.
I can't remember. Was Saw a 5 out of 5 for you?
No, it was a 4 out of 5 because I liked the Saw franchise. 5 out of 5.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Saw the first Saw, 4 out of 5.
That's right. You're like, it wasn't good as the sequels.
It's like you just gotta watch them all.
Maybe if we watch the other 2 films with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler, then I'll explain my
theory.
What is it? Conspiracy theory about how they're all connected.
Well, I don't know if we are going to watch those ones, so maybe you should just talk about your theory now.
So, there are 3 movies that Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore are a part of, and it's not even really a conspiracy theory, it's just like something that my brain came up with after watching all 3 of them. It is The Wedding Singer, 50 First Dates, and Blended. And so, in The Wedding Singer, Drew Barrymore is dating a dirtbag, and Adam Sandler falls in love with her. And then I like to connect that one to 50 First Dates by the fact that she got in her accident and forgot who he was. And then eventually, like he's like, okay, I'm done being a womanizer. And then he goes back to her. And then they have a kid, and then they have 3 kids, actually, because there's 3 daughters in Blended. Lucy dies, rest in peace, and then he finds someone who looks similar to Lucy in Blended, and then starts dating her, and then they get married.
Solid theory.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory. Beautiful.
I'll go over my Robert Pattinson one at a different time.
Oh my god.
That one's even more crazy.
Yeah, maybe we should have a Patterson month. You know, maybe that will spark that.
It's true. I've never seen the Batman, so
It's good, which is its own controversy.
yeah, such an interesting theory, but it was fun to come up with because I kind of like to connect the dots, and so I thought it was funny to connect three movies that really don't have anything to do with each other into, besides the fact that they star Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore, into into my own little universe where that is a thing. And speaking of other movies, next week I was considering, and I think we should watch the film Anger Management to continue on in our Adam Sandler fest of April.
That is such a good choice. I'll be excited to watch that one.
Because I've only seen it once, and I don't really remember anything about it, besides the fact that it's Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson.
I do think I also have only seen it once or twice, but there's only one scene that stays in my mind.
We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
Well, thanks for joining us, Breadcrumbs and other listeners on the internet. If you want to listen to more of our content, check out our other two podcasts and enjoy, because honestly, they're really funny. I love doing this.
They are. We are indeed available on Spotify, which you might be listening to this on, and as well as our YouTube. Our YouTube handle is @Sandwich the Podcast, and our Spotify handle is Sandwiched. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, rant, and also possibly leave suggestions for any other movies we should watch.
Yeah, let us know what movies you like, and then we'll totally review them and critique them and talk about them as well.
And spoil the heck out of them.
Oh, yeah. So if it's a